Welcome to Cruise News, your daily update on everything happening at sea. Visit cruisenews.io to see today's stories and sign up for email alerts.
Today we're taking a look at the extremes of maritime logistics, really.
Yeah, we have a fascinating lineup. We'll explore how Holland America is turning a cruise ship into a precision instrument to chase a total solar eclipse.
Right.
We'll also look at how TUI Cruises is reinventing the economics of onboard real estate with their newest launch. And finally, a sober report on how federal law enforcement intercepts passenger behavioral issues before a vessel ever leaves the dock.
These three reports give you a really clear view into the distinct operational pillars of the modern cruise sector.
I mean, it covers everything.
Exactly. You're looking at long-term maritime deployment strategies, the dense economics and logistics of large-scale hospitality, and, well, those strict terminal security protocols that govern passenger embarkation.
Let's start by examining the itinerary planning and maritime operations over at Holland America Line. So, the 2018-built Pinnacle-class ship, Nieuw Statendam, departed Rotterdam on July 25, 2026.
Right, and this departure initiated a 28-night round-trip voyage. It's titled the legendary Solar Eclipse with Greenland and Scotland cruise.
And the interesting thing here is that the entire 28-day routing is targeted around a single meteorological and celestial event.
Right, the August 12, 2026 total solar eclipse.
Just to provide you with some context on the line's broader deployment strategy, this sailing is categorized under Holland America's legendary Voyages program,
Which is a specific collection of longer destination cruises. They run anywhere between 25 to 59 days in length.
Right, and they pair these extended itineraries with dedicated onboard programming.
Yeah, and that 25 to 59-day parameter is a critical distinction in modern itinerary design. Standard 7-night or 14-night sailings are, generally built around high turnover port density and regional familiarity.
Right.
By designating this a legendary voyage, Holland America really signals to you that the cruise is designed for a demographic seeking extensive geographical reach.
And specialized academic or cultural enrichment, which obviously necessitates a significantly longer operational commitment for the vessel itself.
Exactly.
When you look at the structure of this specific 28-day itinerary, you notice a complete departure from standard cruising protocols.
Oh, absolutely. Traditionally, cruise itineraries prioritize port flexibility.
Right, like if weather systems arise, a captain can simply alter the course, drop a port, or adjust arrival times to maintain a smooth passenger experience.
But this specific itinerary is strictly anchored by a non-negotiable celestial event.
The ship must be precisely positioned off the coast of Iceland, right within the path of totality, on the exact date of August 12.
It sounds like trying to hit a moving target while standing on a moving treadmill.
Yeah, I mean, they have to account for ocean currents, fuel burn, and orbital mechanics all at once.
Well, that is the logistical reality of this voyage. The 19 separate pre-eclipse destinations function as a highly orchestrated buildup to that specific maritime coordinate on August 12.
And the routing takes the ship through Northern Europe, Greenland, and Iceland.
But it requires strict adherence to speed and distance calculations to ensure the vessel reaches the path of totality exactly when the astronomical event occurs.
So every scheduled call prior to that date, whether it's Rinavik in the Faroe Islands or Stornoway in the Isle of Lewis, is plotted backward from that singular August 12 requirement.
Exactly.
The itinerary includes several highly specific port times to manage this progression. For example, the schedule includes a late-night departure from Edinburgh, Scotland, and a specific 9-hour call at Quocourt, Greenland.
Right.
How does the bridge team balance a tight 9-hour window in a remote Arctic port with the hard deadline of the eclipse?
Managing a 9-hour call in a remote port like Kortok and balancing it with a late-night departure in a major urban center like Edinburgh requires incredibly precise fuel management and pilotage scheduling.
Because tender operations in Greenland are highly susceptible to wind and swell conditions, right?
Exactly. The bridge team is not just navigating from point A to point B. They are adhering to a celestial timetable that leaves literally no room for significant delays.
In standard cruising operations, a delay simply means arriving late to the next island, and the schedule absorbs the impact.
But on an eclipse cruise, a delay in Greenland could mean missing the geographical window of totality entirely.
To support the educational component of this celestial timetable, Holland America Line appointed Tom Vassos to lead the onboard programming.
Vassos is an astronomer, an author, and a member of the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada.
Notably, he has been affiliated with the University of Toronto for more than 35 years.
Bringing an academic with a 35-year university affiliation on board really shifts the programming from casual cruise entertainment to rigorous scientific observation.
Because translating university-level astronomy into an accessible curriculum for a diverse passenger demographic requires specialized pedagogical skill.
Right, and Vassos' membership in the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada indicates a level of peer-recognized expertise that Holland America utilizes to validate the premium nature of this specific voyage.
During the voyage, his role includes delivering academic lectures, hosting question-and-answer sessions, and leading additional astronomy programming beyond the solar event itself.
And on the day of the eclipse, while the ship is positioned off the coast of Iceland, he provides real-time commentary to the passengers.
Furthermore, the cruise line is supplying all passengers with protective viewing equipment to ensure safe observation of the eclipse. Procurement for an entire Pinnacle-class ship must add another layer of logistical complexity.
Oh, definitely. Supplying thousands of specialized ISO-certified eclipse glasses requires supply chain procurement months in advance.
You cannot simply source these in standard port turnarounds.
Right. Coupled with Vassos' real-time commentary and the precise navigational alignment of the vessel, the cruise line is effectively turning the upper decks of the Nieuw Statendam into a synchronized floating observatory.
Following the conclusion of this solar eclipse itinerary, we have clear data on the future deployment of the Nieuw Statendam. The ship will remain in Europe through early December.
Right. The autumn routing includes cruises to Scandinavia, the Canary Islands, and the British Isles,
as well as a scheduled 14-night Mediterranean cruise in late November.
Following that Mediterranean sailing, Holland America will shift the vessel across the Atlantic to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where it will be based for the 2026 to 2027 Caribbean winter season.
This deployment schedule illustrates the underlying economics of seasonal asset repositioning.
Yeah, keeping a ship in Northern Europe and the Mediterranean through late November allows the operator to maximize regional revenue before a transatlantic repositioning becomes strictly necessary for the North American winter market.
Plotting a vessel to intercept the moon's shadow requires mastering the external maritime environment. But if you look inside the industry's newest ships, you see a completely different kind of logistical mastery, this time focusing on the microscopic details of the passenger's plate. TUI Cruises has provided detailed specifications on the culinary lineup for its newest ship, Mein Schiff Flow.
Mein Schiff Flow represents a massive capital investment for TUI Cruises. It is the second Intuition-class vessel in their fleet.
The ship was officially christened in Trieste, Italy on June 20 and is currently sailing its inaugural Mediterranean season.
When you build a ship that spans 18 decks and carries nearly 4,000 people, the hospitality operations really have to scale up to an industrial level.
Yeah, Mein Schiff Flow measures 333 meters in length with a gross tonnage of approximately 160,000.
To service up to 3,984 passengers, the vessel features 14 distinct restaurants and bistros, alongside 17 bars and lounges.
Operating 14 separate restaurant concepts and 17 bars on a single vessel requires a highly complex provisioning supply chain.
Consider the mechanics of a turnaround day in a Mediterranean port.
Right.
The culinary procurement team must load specific fresh produce, regional proteins, and specialized dry goods that perfectly align with completely different menus.
They are simultaneously loading supplies for French bistros, Asian specialty venues, and massive buffet operations in a matter of hours.
Exactly. And the specialty lineup really reflects that diversity. The mix features Summer Bistro, a French venue, and Taverna Dionysos, a Greek concept.
You also have Hofde, serving Scandinavian-inspired fish and meat dishes.
And the Chalet Restaurant and Bar, which features an Alpine menu, as well as the Street Art Bar carrying sushi.
These join pre-existing Mein Schiff staples, including the Atlantic Restaurant, the Harbor Market Buffet, and Osteria Pasta e Pizza.
Distributing these varied culinary concepts throughout the 333-meter length of the ship is fundamentally an exercise in crowd control.
By offering diverse options, the cruise line effectively disperses the passenger base across different decks during peak dining hours.
Right, which prevents structural bottlenecks at any single venue. Furthermore, the inclusion of regional concepts like the Alpine-themed chalet and the Scandinavian Huft specifically targets the demographic preferences of the German-speaking market,
which is TUI Cruises' primary customer base. The flagship dining concept on board is FUGU, led by chef Tim Raue. According to Raue, the restaurant draws its inspiration from Singaporean cuisine and its diverse mix of influences.
FUGU serves a 5-course menu, complete with wine pairings.
But what stands out operationally is the inclusion of a digital storytelling presentation that runs throughout the evening.
Right.
I have to ask, does integrating digital screens into a multi-course dinner risk disrupting the traditional analog experience of high-end dining?
Well, Chef Raue's stated intent is to move beyond a conventional dinner format. Traditionally, high-end dining relies purely on analog elements.
Like the plating execution, the flavor profiles, and the sommelier's exact pacing of the wine pairing.
Exactly. By introducing a continuous digital presentation, TUI Cruises is attempting to create a synchronized, multi-sensory environment.
The digital storytelling is programmed to visually complement the specific Singaporean influences on the plate, keeping the passengers engaged with the venue's narrative between the 5 courses.
Blending digital media with fine dining requires precise timing from the kitchen to match the screen projections. It reflects a broader industry trend toward immersive entertainment venues.
We also have detailed information on the exclusive areas designated for junior suite and suite guests and beverage service across the ship, which includes the coffee-focused barista bar and the Sea View Captain's Bar.
Premium passengers have dedicated access to the X Lounge, the X Bar, the X Coast, and a new venue called the X View.
Right, and there is an important operational shift regarding the X View. During the day, the space operates by providing buffets and snacks exclusively for suite guests.
However, in the evening, the X View opens as a specialty restaurant available to all passengers on board.
I'm looking at these deck plans, and it seems like a risk to take premium suite space and open it to everyone at night. How does TUI justify this dual-use model without shortchanging their highest-paying guests?
That dual-use shift at the X View is a highly strategic maneuver regarding the economics of maritime real estate.
Premium deck space with high-visibility views is incredibly valuable.
Right. By restricting the venue to suite guests during the daytime, TUI maintains the exclusivity required to justify the premium suite fares.
But luxury lounges frequently suffer from low utilization in the evenings when passengers disperse to main dining rooms and theaters.
Exactly. By opening the X View to the entire 3,984 passenger base at night as a specialty restaurant, they transition a potentially empty space from a complementary amenity into a direct revenue-generating center.
It is a highly efficient monetization of the ship's square footage. In terms of beverage upgrades within those suite-exclusive areas, TUI Cruises is introducing Hapag-Lloyd Cruises House Champagne for the first time.
The X areas will feature Mandois Blanc and Mandois Rose.
Marcus Sashish, the head of food and beverage at TUI Cruises, stated, "With Mandois, we are expanding our champagne selection with 2 special cuvées."
Since TUI Cruises and Hapag-Lloyd Cruises operate under the same corporate umbrella, cross-utilizing the Mandois champagne in the premium areas of Mein Schiff Flow is a logical supply chain consolidation.
It streamlines procurement while elevating the TUI product by associating it with the ultra-luxury reputation of the Hapag-Lloyd brand.
Yes.
Prior to the ship's first revenue sailings, TUI Cruises executed specific trade preview events. They introduced Mein Schiff Flow to selected commercial partners during a Together at Sea preview sailing, departing from Trieste before the official christening.
Klaas Eckholt, Vice President Commercial at TUI Cruises, noted the trip was designed to allow sales partners to understand the ship comprehensively while building connections with the line's sales team.
This preview featured workshops, live music, show formats, and a ship rally titled Go with the Flow.
These trade previews serve as critical infrastructure for the operator's sales pipeline.
Right, because travel agents and commercial partners cannot effectively sell the nuances of a 14-restaurant, 160,000-ton vessel without first-hand operational knowledge.
The workshops and rallies educate the partners on the specific selling points of the intuition class, such as the logistics of the digital dining at FUGU and the daytime to nighttime real estate transition of the X View.
Following the Together at Sea event, TUI hosted a subsequent AHOI trip for 35 selected partners.
This smaller event included the official christening ceremony in Trieste.
And it featured direct meetings with CEO Wibraki Meyer, chef Tim Raue, and bartending world champion Lin Nguyen, with discussions heavily centered on the ship's new gastronomy concepts.
Limiting that secondary trip to just 35 partners indicates a highly targeted corporate strategy.
It provides top-producing travel agencies with direct access to the executive suite and the culinary architects, ensuring the line's most valuable retail partners fully grasped the new operational concepts.
Precisely.
While cruise lines focus massive resources on optimizing the guest experience inside these new vessels, maintaining rigid security and behavioral standards begins before passengers ever reach the gangway.
That's right.
On Friday, July 35, 2026, 47-year-old Daniel Ramirez of Texas was arrested at PortMiami's Royal Caribbean Terminal.
The arrest was executed by U.S. Customs and Border Protection officers while Ramirez was attempting to board a cruise ship.
He was subsequently booked into the Turner Guilford Night Correctional Center shortly after 10 a.m. on a felony battery charge, with bond set at $2,500.
It is necessary to trace the precise timeline of facts regarding this felony charge.
Right.
The arrest at the cruise terminal by Customs and Border Protection stems directly from an outstanding warrant related to an incident that occurred 5 days prior to his scheduled Friday embarkation.
The incident generating the felony charge took place on Sunday evening, July 26. The location was the Hard Rock Cafe at Bayside Marketplace, a retail and dining complex located less than a mile from PortMiami.
According to reports from WSVN 7 News and the official arrest report, Ramirez was at the restaurant with his family when he began eating fruit slices that were set aside by the staff for drink service.
A female bartender, who has not been identified in the reports, asked him to stop.
The arrest report documents a rapid escalation from that point. When asked to stop taking the fruit slices meant for beverage preparation, Ramirez reportedly swore at the bartender, lodged a complaint with restaurant management, and expressed objection to being addressed by a woman.
The report states the situation escalated into physical violence during a later interaction. Ramirez is accused of shoving the bartender to the floor.
When the bartender got up and attempted to take a photograph of him, Ramirez allegedly knocked the mobile phone from her hand and shoved her to the ground a second time.
The injuries sustained by the bartender during this physical altercation were severe.
According to the official reporting, she suffered a loss of consciousness, a concussion, and a broken tooth as a result of the incident.
Furthermore, local authorities confirmed that surveillance video at the restaurant captured and verified the details of the assault.
Right.
This brings us back to the jurisdictional timeline and the 5-day gap between the assault at the Bayside Marketplace on Sunday and the arrest at PortMiami on Friday. Ramirez was not arrested immediately following the incident at the restaurant. Instead, U.S. Customs and Border Protection officers intercepted him several days later as he was processing through security at the cruise terminal.
Right.
Could you explain the mechanism of how federal border authorities get involved in a local battery case at a cruise terminal?
When a violent incident occurs completely off property at an independent location like the Hard Rock Cafe, local police investigate and issue a warrant, in this case, an outstanding felony battery charge.
Which is immediately flagged in local and federal law enforcement databases.
Exactly. When passengers arrive at any U.S. cruise terminal, they do not just walk onto the ship. Their manifests and identifications are systematically screened by U.S. Customs and Border Protection against those exact databases.
So this routine federal security checkpoint at the port is exactly where officers identified the outstanding warrant for Ramirez and intercepted him prior to his scheduled embarkation. Providing the specific cruise context for that Friday embarkation, Wonder of the Seas was the only Royal Caribbean ship docked at PortMiami that day.
The vessel was scheduled to depart on a 3-night weekend itinerary, with scheduled calls at Perfect Day at Coco Cay and Nassau in the Bahamas.
There were no departure delays reported for the ship as a result of the terminal arrest.
And it is important to plainly reiterate that Royal Caribbean was not a party to the underlying incident at the Hard Rock Cafe.
The assault occurred entirely independent of the cruise line and its property.
Royal Caribbean has not issued a statement regarding the matter, as their only involvement was cooperating with federal law enforcement during the standard mandatory terminal screening process that applies to all embarking passengers.
The scale of what operators manage is really remarkable.
Before you go, consider the vast operational spectrum the modern cruise industry handles simultaneously.
Right.
On any given day, an operator must coordinate seamlessly with international law enforcement to execute background checks and federal interceptions at the terminal.
While inside the ship, they are engineering microscopic hospitality details, like precisely pacing a wine pairing to match the timing of a digital projection for thousands of passengers.
And externally, they are calculating fuel burn and pilotage to navigate a 99,000-ton vessel to perfectly align with the shadow of the moon in the middle of the ocean.
Thanks for listening to Cruise News. Visit cruisenews.io to catch up on the latest updates and sign up for free email alerts.